Back in 2015, PC Gamer released a survey to 2,600 participants asking them one very simple question. What's the hardest PC game you've ever played? Now, many of us have come within seconds of punching a black hole in the center of our monitor, whether that be at the hands of a Civ 6 deity game or getting crushed by an army 3 times your size in a Rome Total War campaign. Either way, it really sucks. And most games seem to give players one of two options to avoid such difficulty. The first and perhaps most common among today's AAA titles is the option of the player selecting their preferred difficulty. Such features lower the risks associated with the decisions that the player has to make during the game and make it overall pretty easy to get through. The second option that some games utilize is providing frequent checkpoints for players to save their progress. Therefore, even if an obstacle seems absolutely freaking impossible to pass, the player can rest assured that their progress won't be lost after they finish that objective, even if that takes 20 or 30 tries, because they can just keep jumping back into it. So how then does a video game franchise like Dark Souls, which received a combined 54.1% between Dark Souls 1 and 2, stand out as the hardest game ever? Simple. You just remove the first two options and leave new players with a learning curve steeper than an amateur Robin investor portfolio after posting brain-dead herd skulls. The only advice Dark Souls gives to new players is pretty much that you can move and you can swing your sword. Good luck! Within minutes of starting your playthrough, you're immediately faced with a boss the likes of which you've probably never seen before in a video game, and believe me, it sucks. You'd be crazy to say that all of this isn't frustrating in the slightest, because it totally is. In a 2016 interview with Wired's Daniel Starkey, creator of the Dark Souls franchise, Hidetaka Miyazaki, openly admitted that all of the seemingly enormous amount of bullshit players have to deal with is, quote, purely intentional. In this video, we're going to talk about how to keep your cool in a game carefully designed to make you lose it. Please note that this guide only covers single player tips. Number 1. Losing your souls isn't the end of the world. One of the most mentally challenging aspects of the Dark Souls games is how absolutely brutally they punish mistakes. A simple step to the left instead of a roll to the right could mean an hour's worth of progress instantly gone, or so it may seem. Even though you lose all of the souls you are holding onto when you die, it is important to note that the items you picked up on your run still remain in your inventory, and there is even a chance that you could reacquire the souls you dropped where you last died. In fact, unlike with picking up white orbs, the game doesn't make you play an animation as you go to collect your coveted green ball of dough. Just sprint to where you died, and if you can pick 'em up, and haul ass out of there if you have to. Also, if you're not planning on immediately spending your souls right away, or saving them up for a big leveling up spree in Firelink, it's wise to keep them as consumables in your inventory, at least until you need to cash them in. If you really need a lot of souls quickly though, you can always go back to an easier level and farm up for a few minutes, and it's pretty easy to do so. Number 2, knowledge is key. Another thing that you still hold on to even after dying is the map knowledge and understanding you develop before your death. Dark Souls knowledge, in my opinion, can really be broken down into 3 simple categories: map knowledge, enemy movesets, and just general game knowledge. So even while we're running for our lives from seemingly endless hordes of enemies, each of which seems way worse than the previous one, we still pick up valuable information about the environment that we're in. For example, even after dying to huge tree monsters in that crappy-ass swamp on several occasions, I learned that 1. The swamp's water was toxic and would build poison as you waded through it. 2. The poison would grow at a significantly faster rate if I tried to roll through it. And 3. Purple moss clumps, which the game even provides for you, can be used to instantly cure the poison. After you undergo this process multiple times, you'll end up with, if nothing else, a pretty thorough understanding of the map. And this then allows you to develop smarter, more efficient strategies for navigating the level effectively. Number 2, enemy movesets. One of the saving graces that this brutal game offers its players is the fact that all enemies' attacks are choreographed and can be somewhat anticipated. You could even argue that Dark Souls is somewhat of a rhythm game like Beat Saber. Even though an enemy may kill you a few times, eventually you begin understanding how that enemy works. much like in Beat Saber, where you can begin to anticipate notes in more jam-packed parts of a song. In Dark Souls, if you see any kind of distance forming between you or a certain motion that the boss typically seems to make, you can anticipate a particular hit is incoming. For example, after he slams you to the ground, I can know that I'll be able to punish it because the boss is vulnerable for a few seconds. Another example, if I create some distance between me and an Abyss Watcher, I know that he will come in and charge me, etc., etc. Eventually, you begin forcing the enemy to behave the way you want them to. Every enemy in Dark Souls 3 only has a certain number of attacks, and obviously some are more dangerous than the others. And figuring them out is a super useful way to circumnavigate each of those attacks and put yourself on top in battles. In fact, most moves are easily identifiable within the first few seconds of the animation, and remembering that this is a critical advantage that you have over your enemies is absolutely crucial. Because again, you develop this knowledge from run to run, while they can't. Number 3, general game knowledge. So this last category is pretty much reserved for any random pieces of technical knowledge that I couldn't necessarily fit into either of the first two categories. These include skills such as navigating and effectively utilizing all of the NPCs back in Firelink Shrine, getting familiar with all of the capabilities of your equipment, and fully understanding your character's stats. The last of which I know is pretty challenging since the status page is one of the craziest screens that new players are presented with, but once you break it down, it's not totally impossible to understand it. If nothing else, you can go up to the Firekeeper and mess around with leveling up to figure out which traits affect your HP, FP, or stamina. And finally, as a bonus category, I just felt that it was important to acknowledge that for some of you, even getting the opportunity to watch a cutscene right before an epic boss battle can be awesome simply for the incredibly rich Dark Souls lore. The writers of this game did a masterful job really fleshing out this universe, and it all just adds that much more engaging complexity to the game. Honestly, if you're ever just bored, just look up why the Abyss Watchers take a break from murdering you to kill one another. It's really cool. Number 3, nobody's expecting you to be a Dark Souls prodigy right off the bat. At the end of the day, that's just it. This game was designed to be hard and brutal to newcomer players, but that's exactly what draws its loyal fan base to it. Remember that at the end of the day, you chose to play this game because it was a challenge that you were seeking. Sure, it can get frustrating at times, but I can assure you that there are very few things more satisfying than putting a final blow into a boss you've been stuck on for hours, or just finding that next bonfire. You might be sick of hearing this from other people, but in reality, exploration is key to succeeding in Dark Souls. Pretty much anything that you can see, you can reach, one way or another in this game. Get creative. And if you're really stuck on a part and nothing that you seem to do can help you get through it, be sure to keep an eye out for helpful messages from veteran players, or, if need be, you can always look up really useful guides on the internet. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed this new style of video, and if you want to see more of it, please be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you really did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I try to upload a new video every 2 to 3 days, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway guys, I just want to say once again, thank you. Bye!